enough, they're strong enough, I'm good enough. My hands are strong enough to give love. My hands are strong enough, I'm good enough. My hands are strong enough to give love. My hands are strong, my hands are strong, my hands are giving you love. My hands are strong, my hands are strong, my hands are strong, my hands are giving you love. My hands are strong, every hour is strong, I'm filled with power. My hands are strong enough to give love.
Today. You can hear pretty good. We're going to start the service this morning with a song that's really easy to learn, so I thought I would teach it to you. It's called I Know This Rose Will Open. And the words are, I know this rose will open. I know my fears will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. So you already know 2 lines if you know the title. So it goes like this. I know this rose will open. Try that. I know this rose will open. Same tune. I know my fears will burn away. I know my fears will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fears will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my tears will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. Now what's great about this song is it's a round. So, do you want to take it around? We're going to do it in 2 parts. So you all have to start. Okay? We're going to start. I know this rose will open. I know my fears will burn away. I know this rose will open. I know my fears will burn away. I know this soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fears will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. Keep going. I know this rose will open. I know my fears will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this
Universalist Church of the Brazos Valley. My name is Allison Faber, and I am serving as your worship assistant today. We are a welcoming congregation, which means we celebrate and welcome all people of diverse sexual orientations and gender identities. We strive to welcome people across diversities of race, age, ability, immigration status, and belief. We are also a congregation working for reproductive justice. So, whoever you are, wherever you have come from, wherever you are on life's journey, know that you are welcome here. All right, I have 2 announcements today. The first is that the Call Task Force has left some blank forms on the back table. If you did not get a chance to fill out the survey last week about what's going right in the congregation, what we need to improve on, they're at the back table that we can fill out today. Second, next Sunday, April 26th, is our first Dirt Communion to celebrate Earth Day. Please bring plants you'd like to share and dirt from your garden or a place that matters to you. We'll put all the dirt together in one big pot, and then we're going to plant a tree in it that will eventually be on our property. So that'll be really fun. All right, thanks for everybody. Thanks for being here today.
Our call to worship this morning comes from Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. He said, "Now there is a final reason I think that Jesus says, love your enemies. It is this, that love has within it a redemptive power. And there is a power there that eventually transforms individuals. Just keep being friendly to that person. Just keep loving them. And they can't stand it too long. Oh, they react in many ways in the beginning. They react with guilt feelings, and sometimes they'll hate you a little more at that transition period. But just keep loving them. And by the power of your love, they will break down under the load." That's love, you see. It is redemptive. And this is why Jesus says love. There's something about love that builds up and is creative. There is something about hate that tears down and is destructive. So love your enemies. This is from Love Your Enemies, Martin Luther King Jr.
All right, so now we're going to light our chalice. If I can have my handy chalice lighter. And you can join with me the chalice lighting if you know it, or you can just listen silently. All right, we light the chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, as a beacon of hope for all who seek justice, dignity, and compassion, and in the celebration of the life of truth and meaning we share together. All right, now all please join me in our affirmation statement. Love is the spirit of the church, and service is its gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Our next song is in the hymnal, the great hymnals behind you, number 214, Shabbat Shalom, which is a traditional Passover song. It's earlier, so you practically know all the words already.
Shabbat, shalom. Shabbat, 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 shabbat.
sang this song before? Does it feel weird in your mouth? Try it. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom.
Alright, now let an offering be taken to sustain and strengthen this place which is sacred to so many of us, a community of memory and of hope, for we are now the keepers of the dream. So this church shares the proceeds of the offering plate donation every week to support important nonprofit organizations with which we work. This month, we are proud to support the Pride Community Center. The purpose of the Pride Community Center is to educate the public about sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression, advocate for civil rights under law and social equality for the community, provide resources like cultural services, emotional support, mental health services, health information, and avenues for personal growth to enhance self-esteem, strive to eliminate prejudice and discrimination against the community, and develop outreach programs with harmonious relationships between the community and the citizens of the Brazos Valley. The Pride Community Center intends to create a safe space for the community to assemble for the above cited purposes, free of discrimination, violence, taunting, and fear. So please be as generous as you can. These gifts, and we give thanks for those we received here. May your generosity return to you tenfold.
I believe we're gonna sing number 266, which is a beautiful, spooky Easter song. Well, this morning we're talking about Yahshua, or Rabbi Jesus. Now, how many of y'all have a favorite Jesus? Do you have a story you like about him, or something that you like about him, like makes you sort of feel sort of friendly toward him? Anything? Or you just don't believe in him and you don't want to talk about him? Yeah, not at all. Okay, that's cool. But he's so, it's like agricultural language in English. You know, like we talk about mad as a wet hen, and we talk about things like that. Jesus is in everything the English language has. So even if we are totally agnostic and totally humanist, and we're evangelical atheists, we have to consider that we need to know a little bit about Jesus, right? So I'm going to tell you some stories that are totally heretical and not allowed. They're not in the regular New Testament. Did you all know that somebody decided what's in the New Testament? Right, so there's 4 Gospels in the New Testament, right? 3 of them are almost identical. Mark is the oldest, and Mark was the secretary for anyway, so Mark is the oldest, and they can tell by how it's written that Luke and Matthew read Mark. Do you all know this? Okay, great. Well, there are also a bunch of books that were written between the 1st and the 4th centuries that have been kicked out of the New Testament for whatever reason. And I want to tell you some stories about Jesus when he was little that are in a book called the Infancy Gospel of Thomas. So they tell stories about Jesus when he was 5 to when he goes to the temple and gets lost from his parents. You all know that story?
No.
That's in the regular Gospels in the New Testament. But all these stories are folk tales that were passed around in the 2nd century and written down sometime in the 2nd century and have gone on through time. And in fact, they've gone on through time so much that even in the 7th century, they wrote them down in Old Irish. So there's an Old Irish copy, there's an English translation. Anyway, why should we care? Because I like the stories about Jesus because he kills people in these stories. He gets mad at the guy who's picking on him and he kills him. And then he brings him back to life. So it's okay. My favorite story is on the Sabbath. So it would have been a Saturday because Jesus was Jewish, right? So it was on a Saturday and he's hanging out and he's playing in the water. And he's making the water clearer because he's Jesus. And he's taking the clay out of the water and he's making little sparrows. He makes 12 sparrows out of the clay. Well, somebody was walking by and they're like, hey, that 5-year-old kid should not be making things on the Sabbath. That's against the rules. So he goes and tells Joseph, his dad. He says, your son is making things on the Sabbath. Joseph goes, hey, Jesus, quit it. Don't make things on the Sabbath. And Jesus goes, and then the sparrows flew away. Pretty good. Get rid of the evidence. Excellent, right? Yeah.
What did you say that stop making things on the...
If you're Jewish, it starts on Friday night and goes to Saturday night. Where if you're Christian, it's on Sunday, right? Like we're having Easter on Sunday. But if you're Jewish, you celebrate, you have a big dinner with your family on Friday night and it goes to Saturday. And people who are very religious about it, they don't drive cars and they don't work on the Sabbath.
Well, I'm Jewish, and I don't know this, so it's kind of...
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. You know what kind of Jewish you are?
Nope.
Yeah, there's many different kinds. There's Reformed. Anyway, there's conservative. It's okay. You can be Jewish by heritage and not know about the religious practices. Both things are true. Yeah.
We did Passover yesterday.
Yeah, Passover? You want to know about Passover?
We do that in Jerusalem.
Yeah, Passover is the biggest deal if you're Jewish. It's bigger a deal than Christmas, than Hanukkah. It's the biggest deal of all. And it's really cool because you leave a chair open for Elijah and he comes, you hope.
Well, we just left this pretty wine glass on this shelf.
Yeah, they do the whole story about leaving Egypt and everybody has parts and you get to eat special things except those bitter herbs which don't taste very good.
I like parsley.
You like that part? Okay. That's cool. That's cool. So, okay, well, Passover's a big deal. Jesus was Jewish. So when he became 12 and his parents took him to the temple in Jerusalem, they left him there thinking that he was hanging out with his cousins and stuff. So when they went back to Nazareth, which was like 200 miles away or something, he stayed behind and he stayed with the teachers, the rabbis, the Pharisees, and he hung out with them and he was teaching them. So all these stories of Jesus as a kid that are in this book, if you look it up, it's the infamous Infancy Gospel of Thomas. There's another Gospel of Thomas, but that just has sayings of Jesus. And it's heretical too, so it's not in the Bible. But you can read them, it's great. What's important about the story is not everything about Jesus that we know come from the New Testament. People decided. There were people making up stories, they were believing different things about Jesus. Like, have you ever worried about, well, if Jesus was divine, how did he die? Or was he divine when he was born, or did he get divine later? You know, these are the kind of things people fought and killed each other over for centuries. Maybe still. But this is why certain books were accepted and certain books were not accepted. And I thought you all might like those stories. What's your favorite Jesus stories? Anybody have a favorite? What's your favorite one?
One where he killed somebody and then brought him back to life.
Sorry?
When he killed somebody and brought him back to life.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what happened was, there's a couple. He got mad, a guy hit him in the shoulder, and he got mad and he killed him. And then his dad said, really you shouldn't do that because all the people in the village are not gonna speak to us and they're gonna drive us out. You kinda need to be nice, and said, okay, I'll bring him back to life. The best one, I think, is his friend. He was playing with his friends, and one of his friends fell off the roof and died. So his friend's laying there dead. And then everybody in the village comes and they're like, Jesus, you did that. And Jesus is like, no, I didn't. And he brought him back to life just long enough that his friend could say, no, I just fell off the roof. It's true. These are all true stories. But these are the stories that people would sit around at dinner and tell each other these stories. In the 1st and 2nd century, they were just making up stories. Like, wonder what Jesus was like when he was a baby. All we know is that a bunch of magi's came, right? And the wise men, right? And they came and they brought gifts, and the shepherds were there, and the donkeys were there. You all know that story, right? How many magi's? Not true. More. There's no place is it written down how many came. There could have been 80. We don't know. Yeah, but the songs are made up. I want to break this to you, but everything that we're talking about was made up by someone. Just saying. It's all true. Let's see. How many people know how Jesus got his name? The angel Gabriel came to Mary and said, you're going to have a baby from God. Yeah, I know you haven't been with a man. It's okay. You're going to have a baby from God, and you're going to name him Jesus. Meantime, Joseph is down the street. He's sleeping. An angel comes to Joseph and says, you're going to have a kid. Mary's going to have a kid. She wasn't unfaithful to you, and you're going to name it Jesus. That's how Jesus got his name. It was the most common name in the 1st century. It would be like Joe. Hey, Joe. Oh, that's a song too. Okay, let's see. Anybody else have a favorite Jesus story? Almost all of the ones, and Matthew was basically talking to the Jewish people about Jesus. So when you read Matthew, it's written about all the prophecies and stuff. They have to do with what's in the Old Testament that Jewish people would have known about the Messiah. And so it's almost like he's trying to make a case for Jesus being a Messiah. But Luke is written for Gentiles, Greeks, people like that. So it's a little bit more detailed and a little bit more fanciful. You get more stories in Luke than you do. And Mark is the earliest. But all three of them have almost the same stories in them. And John is where it gets a little bit different. John is where it's more like spiritual. We were trying to change your mind. It might be more Gnostic, which we could talk about some other time. But anyway, I want to tell you some more cool things about Jesus. Let's see.
What can you tell us about between 12 and 28?
Nobody knows. You know that.
How did I know that?
Nobody knows that. There's not even a heretical book about that period of time. Some people say he went to India. Some people say he just was a carpenter in Nazareth, and he never got out much. But he studied a lot. So I mean, there's a pretty good case that he was a rabbi.
But there's no maps that include Nazareth.
Right.
But the city of Nazareth doesn't show up.
There's no city. Yeah, it's like 200 people in Nazareth. It would be like saying you're from.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Jesus of Snook. That's cool. Yeah. So he spoke 3 languages, probably at least 2 we know for sure. Aramaic is how Jesus talked. That was the language of Palestine, just the regular people. And then Hebrew, because he would have had to learn the Torah, because every Jewish boy had to read from the Torah when he got to be at his bar mitzvah, right? So he would have known Hebrew. And because of some of the stories they tell, Jesus was pretty familiar with it, well, what we call the Hebrew Bible, the Pentateuch. The 5 books written supposedly by Moses, which he didn't write it. Moses didn't write it. He dies in one of the books that he supposedly wrote. How does that work? Okay. Anything else any other stories you like?
I'm thinking about the social justice aspect of
That's my favorite, Jesus. Yeah.
those stories.
Yeah, I agree with you. How many people like the social gospel Jesus who like turns over the moneylender's thing and yeah, we like him. We like him. Flip tables. Yes. He hung out with women, which was totally uncool in his time. And not necessarily reputable women, but that is also not true. If you think that Mary Magdalene was a prostitute, perhaps, they don't think so. It's a later Catholic pope that made that true. Yeah, blame the women, exactly. Is this kind of interesting? Do you all like this? I do too. Yes, so yeah, he was quoting when he went and he fasted for 40 days. Only Abraham and Moses had done that before. So 35 days in or so, he started talking to the devil in the desert. Do you all know this story?
No.
And he's quoting Deuteronomy back to the devil. You know, like don't tempt the Lord your God, that kind of stuff. So he knew the Old Testament pretty well. Let's see. Do you all know what Bethlehem means? It means house of bread. Why did Jesus, who was from Nazareth, have to be born in Bethlehem? Well, you have to go to Matthew about that because there was a prophecy in Isaiah that said that the Messiah would be born in Bethlehem in the house of David. Joseph was supposedly from the house of David. There were a lot of ne'er-do-wells. How many of y'all have people in your family that you're not necessarily that proud of? Okay, Jesus had a bunch of people in his family that were probably not such great people. You know, King David for one. He wanted to sleep with somebody else's wife, and so he sent them into battle in the front line so they died. Not necessarily the nicest person. Jesus was not a vegetarian. He ate lots of lamb and fish. Yeah, let's see what else I can tell you that might be interesting.
Now you've gone into food.
Okay.
It's the parable of the loaves and fishes. There's the interpretation that he didn't miraculously make this food, but he got everybody to share what they had and were hanging on to. And that to me is a miracle, to get people out of their meaning.
Shows he was a good organizer, right? Yeah, that's the only story that's in every gospel. That's the only story that's consistently in every one. Yeah, that's his first miracle. You all know that story? Jesus and his mom went to a wedding in Cana, and and they ran out of wine. So many people came to the party, and they ran out of wine. So he took these big jars of water and turned them into wine, and that was his first miracle. Yeah. So anyway, think about Jesus today. Next year, maybe I'll tell you the stories about this period of time because there are other peoples of supernatural tendencies that also died for 3 days and were brought back. It's not just a Christian story. So anyway, I hope you all have a good Easter. We're going to have a lot of fun today. Thank you for listening to me.
Yeah, everyone's.
And now, if you would assume a position of meditation or prayer, I'm going to read you this wonderful prayer for a while in the struggle from Marjorie Belzar. Spirit of light and love, spirit of resistance, spirit of generosity, that which serves as our conscience in this work that we do to dismantle white supremacy, to empower the marginalized, to insist that Black lives matter. We have been angered. We have been saddened. We have been pushed to the brink once more. We are also inspired and seem resolved to do better this time. To not simply get to the other side of this moment, but to get there morally healthier. To get there to a safer place for Black bodies. Spirit, help us to understand that we each have a role in justice work. For our liberations are tied to one another. Give us the clarity of mind to know what our individual part is in the struggle. That there are many ways to protest injustice. Help us to find our way and commit to it. Spirits, we ask for guidance. Send us strength and endurance and hold nothing back. For precious lives depend on it. We will be imperfect. Rest assured that we will mess up over and over again, and we must do it anyway. We must summon the courage to tear down the system of injustice and get busy creating a world community with justice for all. Amen. Our last hymn today is by a woman named Lee Morse, and I'm going to teach it to you. I'm going to teach you the first part, and we have all our singers have learned 3 other parts, and so four other parts. Anyway, it's going to be awesome. And the words are, my hands are strong enough, are good enough. My hands are strong enough to give love. That's the words. Got that? My hands are strong enough, I'm good enough. My hands are strong enough to give love. Try it. My hands are strong enough, they're strong enough, I'm good enough. My hands are strong enough to give love. My hands are strong enough, I'm good enough. My hands are strong enough to give love. My hands are strong, my hands are strong, my hands are giving to love. My hands are strong, my hands are strong, my hands are strong, my hands are giving to love. Every hands are strong, every hour is strong, my filled with power, and my hands are strong enough to give love. My hands are strong, every hour is strong, my filled with power, my hands are strong enough to give love. Every hands are strong, every hour is strong, I'm filled with power. My hands are strong enough to give love. Okay, I want to try something. Everybody who's a grown-up, close your eyes. Everybody who's a kid, sing with me. My hands are strong enough, they're strong enough, I'm good enough. My hands are strong enough to give love. See how loud you can be. My hands are strong enough, I'm good enough. My hands are strong enough to give love. I'm going to tell you a secret. There are a lot of songs like this that aren't written down. This one is, but a lot of songs are not written down. And if you don't learn them and you don't sing them, they die. So this is your chance to learn a song that you can teach other people. And there's more verses, and later on, maybe in another service, I'll teach you another verse. But being able to sing loud, and you can close your eyes and sing loud, and nobody will hear you. Want to try it? Everybody, let's try it all together. Everybody close your eyes and sing. My hands are strong enough, they're strong enough, I'm good enough. My hands are strong enough to give love. That's much better. My hands are strong enough, they're strong enough, I'm good enough. My hands are strong enough to give love. All parts of it. My hands are strong enough, they're strong enough, I'm good enough. My hands are strong enough to give love. One more time. My hands are strong, my hands are strong, my hands are strong, my hands are good.
It has been such a joy to see all of you here today. A reminder that next week we'll be back at the Neal Recreation Center in Bryan, and I hope to see all of you there. Well, our chalice has already been extinguished, but please join me in ceremoniously extinguishing our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we gather together again.
Okay, we're gonna have fun now.
I know this road will go. I know my fears will run away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this road will go. I know this road will go. I know my fears will turn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this road will go.
Cards declare.